Hey friends, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel Terry and I'm the author of 3 young adult fantasy books. Information will be in the description box down below if you're interested. This is not a video that I expected to make today, but we are reviewing There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Poole. I just binged almost 300 pages of this book last night. I just finished it. It is very fresh in my mind, so of course I had to hop on here and make a video about it because God knows there's not that many books that I get excited about or that I can say nice things about. And if you can't say nice things, don't say anything. So I have another positive book review to share with you guys today. This book took me about a week to read, and that's really not that long. It just feels really long to me. I feel like I'm becoming a much slower reader than I used to be, and I don't like that. So I was enjoying this book, but for some reason here lately, the books that I'm enjoying seem to take me the longest to get through. So Sunday, I just sat down and said, I need to get a decent chunk of this book read. Probably not finish it, but get a decent chunk of it done, because if I finish the whole thing in one day here, what I have left, that would be almost 300 pages. Well, I started reading and I just kept going, and now here we are. This book was compared on Goodreads to the Realm Breaker trilogy by Victoria Aveyard. It said if people like one, they might like the other, so that's how I ended up picking up this book. I remember looking at the cover of it when it came out and actually passing on it, but here I am now and I read it and I loved it. So it came around at the right time for me. This book follows 5 main characters as they are drawn together due to a common cause. They're not trying to save the world necessarily. They're not working together for any specific purpose. They're just drawn together because of a prophecy. The premise of this book is that throughout the centuries there were prophets who saw the future and guided the world away from catastrophic outcomes, but 100 years ago the prophets just disappeared, and that kind of plunged the world into chaos. However, unbeknownst to the majority of the population, the prophets had one final prophecy that was kept secret that foretold of a darkness that was coming and the harbingers that would appear that would either make the Age of Darkness come about or stop it altogether. So I'm going to introduce each of our main characters here briefly. This could be considered minor spoilers, just a heads up, but it also would help set up the premise of this book. If you're interested in reading it, things might make sense a little bit more quickly. I'm not going to delve into anything too spoilery for sure, but if you're at all worried, I would skip this section. So the first of our characters is Ephira. She is known as the Pale Hand, and she is one of the harbingers of the Age of Darkness, unbeknownst to her. Her sister Beru is another one of the main characters, and Beru is sick. She keeps getting sicker, and Ephira has to use her power to heal her. So she goes around killing people who are wicked and basically taking their life force and transferring it to her sister Beru in order to keep her alive. Another of our main characters is Hassan. He is the exiled prince of the kingdom of Herat, which was recently taken over by a man called the Hierophant and his followers who are called Witnesses. Within this world there are the Graced, and the Graced are called that because they have been given one of 4 graces or magic abilities essentially in this world. The Grace of Heart makes you stronger, faster, more agile, that sort of thing. The Grace of Blood is used to either heal or harm someone. The Grace of Mind can create objects imbued with unique properties like alchemists and artificers. This doesn't really come up in this first book that much. And the Grace of Sight is basically scrying. It can be used to locate living beings or, more rarely, objects potentially. The Hierophant and his followers, which are called Witnesses, believe that the Grace are tainted and need to be wiped out. And there's some jealousy involved, clearly, between those who have Grace and those who do not. Those who don't have these abilities are naturally jealous and slightly mistrustful of those who do. So the Hierophant has taken over the kingdom of Herat and intends that to be the epicenter of his plan to wipe out all graced people from existence. And so Hassan has to try to get his kingdom back from control of this usurper tyrant, the Hierophant. Then we have Anton. He is a scryer. He is basically running from his past. Something horrible happened in his past and it haunts him still, but it's also still chasing him. So he is trying to run away from it while living his own life and not drawing too much attention to himself. But as you can imagine, that doesn't work too well, and he gets sucked into everything else that's going on here. And the final of our main characters is named Jude. He is the heir to the legacy of the Order of the Last Light. The Order of the Last Light are a group of paladins who were sworn to the prophets while they were here. 100 years ago, the prophets disappeared, so the Order of Last Light has kind of faded, and people don't really think much about them anymore, so they've not really involved themselves with the world at large, but they are one of the few groups or people that are aware of the prophet's final prophecy, and when they start seeing the signs or the harbingers that signify that the Age of Darkness is going to come, they leave their island and go in search of the last prophet. So that is their whole role in this. And Jude is coming of age and he is being selected as the Paladin's new leader, essentially. Him and the guards that he selects will be in charge of keeping this last prophet safe no matter what. So this book has this trope that I really enjoy, where you've got a ragtag group of people who have to come together, whether they're doing so willingly or whether they're forced together through a series of events, united by a common cause. If it's not saving the world, then it's something else. In this case, the characters are all in different places, they have all got different things going on, and for most of the book it felt kind of disconnected, in that you don't know what the overarching plot is going to be exactly or how you're going to get there, because like I said, all these characters are in different places, but you trust the process and slowly they start to be drawn together, their storylines start to overlap, but I would not say that they're united even by the end of the book, whether it be to bring about the Age of Darkness or to stop it, because each of them has their own motivation and their own thing that they're fighting for, particularly Ephira, who has that connection to her sister. She's trying to keep her sister alive and will do whatever it takes to make that happen. I think Ephira and Beru are my favorite characters in this. I find them really interesting and complex for reasons that I can't get into because it's spoilers, but I just find their particular backstory so interesting, especially the conflict that it creates between the two of them and the characters around them. The world building in this is quite fleshed out. This is just book one of a trilogy, so some of the other areas that are on the map that are talked about will probably be explored in the future books, which I do intend to read. I've already requested the next one from the library, so I expect we'll get to visit other places on the map as this Age of Darkness continues to unfold. I really appreciate how all of the characters are fleshed out, how they each have their own motivation, and while I said I do like some better than others, I understand where each of them are coming from. This chapter has each of their points of view, so each chapter is a different character's point of view of the 5 of them, and I really appreciate that. I think it helps you get to know them. I know that multi-POV can be kind of a contentious thing, especially in YA, but I thought it was really refreshing. This doesn't feel like your stereotypical YA novel. There is definitely a plot here. It's character driven in that, yes, we have this overarching plot of the Age of Darkness approaching, but each of the characters has their own motivations and they can choose to react to this coming future in however way they like. I also find the Age of Darkness itself and what that might mean and entail to be quite interesting. I'm still not sure what it is exactly, and I can't go into any of those details because that's definitely a spoiler, but it's a dark future brewing on the horizon and I'm curious to see where this goes. I like the religious system in this book a lot, with the prophets, and then you have the graced people, and the Hierophant and his followers are like a cult, so the religious element of this is really interesting and it's just something that I enjoy. My one gripe about this book would be that the main characters for the most part are all teenagers, and I have a hard time buying that teenagers would be trusted with so much responsibility at such an early age. This is not something in YA that I ever really bought, and the older that I get, I buy it even less now, but I like the story, I like the characters. This is something that I'm definitely willing to overlook, and like I said, it does not feel like your stereotypical YA novel, and I mean that in absolutely the best way. I sat on the couch and I binge read almost 300 pages of this book, which is not something that I do very often. It's not often that I find a book that I enjoy, much less one that will make me keep turning the pages, eager to find out what happens next. Just when you think things can't get any darker for the characters, just when you think they might catch a break, something else is thrown into the mix and things just get worse for them. So this is very much an entertaining novel. I think it's kind of underrated. I don't think it's like the most popular book even now compared to some that came out, but I really enjoyed it and I would recommend it if you're looking for a young adult epic fantasy with great world building and a large cast of characters. So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. My name is Rachel Terry. I'm the author of 3 young adult fantasy books, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!